welcome to my channel. This video, I'm going to sum up what I'm going to be talking about in this video so you know whether it's for you or not. So we're talking about Neville Goddard's Feeling is the Secret. What exactly feeling is the secret is? What is the feeling? You know, what is it? What does it feel like? And is it really a fact that you can only manifest if you feel it as real? Well, you will know from experience that isn't true, that you've wanted things in your life, they've come into your life, and you haven't tried at all you've done is had a brief thought or a feeling. So that brings us back to feeling. So let me just say that my best successes, as in my most on-point successes, when I've tweaked around with this a bit, and the fastest successes, so the things that have come to me the fastest, are with ask and it is given. And what is the feeling behind that? There's not a lot of feeling behind that. I tell you what there is a very precise statement, which is clarity of intent, basically. So when you have clarity of intent, what you're doing when you make that statement is you are collecting all of that energy in one little ball, and that is your, that's just, you're not really doing that, but that's the way I look at it. And it's completely pure. It's exactly on point of what you want. So that is your vibration on the subject. That is the energy. The energy is contained in those words. So you don't need to feel a great emotion in order to manifest stuff. I have manifested things with real emotion, but I've also manifested stuff with no emotion whatsoever. Obviously, there's been an energy there. Of course there is, because this is an energetic universe, and reality is responding to our energy all of the time. But when we make that clear statement, there is energy behind it, even though you can't really kind of feel it. You think, well, I'm just saying words. It's the same with affirmations. Like for me, affirmations are no good unless they're all based around me and self-concept. Yet they've been great for me in that respect, but otherwise they're not, because if I keep saying an affirmation about that thing that I want and saying that I already have it, or whatever way I use affirmations, I will start to notice that I don't have it. And I want to go about my life. I want to go about my day not thinking about this thing. And if I keep sticking an affirmation in there during my day, I'm bringing it back to the lack and the not having it. And I don't want to do that. It doesn't work for me. Some people get on tremendously well with affirmations, and that's great, but they're just not for me. But again, making that statement is a bit of an affirmation really, but it's a momentary thing. You've said it. I might say it 1 or 2 times. If I've noticed that something hasn't come to me and I'm thinking, I know there's no resistance there, I will ask again, and I will go, this is just a reminder, subconscious. I'm just reminding you, I still want this, because, you know, I'm weird like that. So that's what I do. But again, there's not huge feeling behind it, but there is an energetic force behind those words. And that's the thing. That's why words are so powerful, because they are energetic. So if you sit there and you're kind of frustrated about life, and you're talking to yourself about how frustrating it is that you can't get what you want, what you're doing is you're creating the energy of that in those words. I can't get what I want, so you can't get what you want. So you're going to see more evidence to back up what you're thinking, because that is your vibration on the subject. So Neville's Feeling is the Secret. Do you tap into the feeling? Do you even bother to try and live in the end? I used to do that, but never for long periods of time, because I couldn't do it. I tried it, I couldn't do it. So I would do it for 1 or 2 minutes. So I would go, okay, if I had this now, if somebody waved a magic wand and said, there you go, there's your desire, it's manifested. How do I think that would feel? And I would just find that feeling. And these days, if I'm teaching it to people, because people want to do it, people like the idea of it, then I'm saying, imagine you already have this in another timeline. And so you're going to shift into that timeline by feeling as the version of you that's already experiencing this in another timeline feels. So you tap into that feeling. So if you find it hard to think of it as your feeling, think of it as the version of you's feeling. Still you, but another version of you. Do it like that. Feel it like that. Feel it for 1, 2 minutes. Don't do it for any more than 2 minutes. And the reason I say that is because as soon as you start to try to hold on to it for longer, it becomes something different. The vibration has changed in that moment because you're trying too hard. So doing it for that amount of time, then going, okay, job done, sort of detaching from it, doing it in that moment, and then going about doing whatever else you do during your day, and combine it with this. Subconscious, please help me to keep forgetting to remember my manifestation. So basically what I'm saying is, I don't know if that's the right way to look at it. Please help me to keep forgetting, and then notice that I have forgotten about it. So that way you're combining the feeling of it with long periods of time where you are completely detached from it, and it's in one of those periods of time, it's going to show up. You don't know when, but it is going to in one of those moments in time. So that combines living in the end and detachment, because this is the problem where people go, how can I detach if I'm living in the end? Well, the thing is, mostly when people say they're living in the end, they're not, because they're trying to live in the end, and it's a completely different thing than living in the end. Imagine if you had this desire. Would you be going about all day, every day, feeling it as if you had it? You wouldn't be, would you? You'd just be getting on with your day because you'd already had it. So you wouldn't have a feeling either way. You'd have it in your life. And when you thought about it, okay, you brought it to mind, you'd know that you had it, but you wouldn't keep bringing it to mind and keep pretending that you already had it because you'd have it. So that's what I'm saying. Living in the end is a balance of a feeling and getting on with life. It's not keep having that feeling all of the time, because then it becomes obsessive and you get obsessed with trying to live in the end, which again, I'm going to reiterate, trying to live in the end is not living in the end. So again, bring everything back to energy. It's all it is energy. And when I hear things that people tell me, that there's lots of videos online, I haven't looked at them myself, where people say you can only manifest through your imagination. That's all that manifests stuff. That's just not true. It's energy. And yes, there's a lot of energy with imagination, an imaginal act. But when you're doing that in order to manifest something, it changes that energy really. It's a little bit contrived, so it doesn't feel the same as it would. I have imagined things on big scale. Crazy things that have happened exactly as I've imagined. Crazy stuff that you would not have, logically shouldn't have happened. But if I had then gone away and tried to do it, it would have been a whole different thing. I have imagined things and attempted to do things in order to manifest, but they've taken a few months to show to me. Whereas when I've done it without trying, they'd taken like a couple of days. They'd shown up in my reality exactly as I'd imagined. So that's a huge amount of feeling there. So yeah, feeling was the secret then, but it was the feeling behind it, the energy behind it that did that. It was nothing to do with the pictures I was seeing in my mind, because some people don't see in pictures, they have aphantasia. My son's friend has it, and he didn't realise he had it, and he only just fairly recently realised that other people see in pictures. He thought that was weird. He couldn't get his head around it when he was talking to Harry about it. I don't know how they ended up having that conversation, but he was really freaked out by it because he couldn't believe that people would do that. So he didn't, does not see in pictures, does not feel in pictures. So it's not about what you do, it's about the energy. But again, that simple statement for me, let me just say it again, has been the most successful. The way I look at it is I love doing it. I absolutely love doing it. And if I feel resistance, I love that too, because I think, oh, okay, I've got some resistance. I'm going to find out what that is. Like, ask my subconscious, please tell me what that resistance is. Show me what it is. Then it shows me, okay, show me the solution to that. And it doesn't often happen in the moment, to be honest. It mostly happens a few days later. When I'm driving to work, something pops in there, I think, oh, it's that. And I deal with it, whatever, at that point. But you can ask anything. So if the surface level stuff isn't working for you, ask, go deeper. But you will get an answer, because it's all in there, stored in your subconscious, and all you're doing is instructing your subconscious to give you that answer. And it finds it, oh, there you go. And it gives it to you, normally when you're least expecting it. But sometimes I have a couple of clients who get really immediate answers to things, which is brilliant. That doesn't generally happen for me. Like I said, it's usually 2 or 3 days later. So I always say like this, your subconscious is not an emergency response unit. So, that's the way I look at it. But again, these other couple of clients that are using it, they do tend to get much more immediate results like that than I do. So if you're thinking, you keep trying to tap into the feeling, you're chasing after the feeling of something, don't worry about it, stop doing it. Because if you're chasing after it, you're never going to feel it as it is anyway. It's never going to be the right feeling. It's going to be a mixed bag, because you're feeling a mixed bag, so that's what you're going to get. So just don't chase the feeling, reading Neville's stuff, because the thing is with Neville, that's what worked for him. But equally, he would say, ask and it is given. So he came up with that phrase, ask and it is given. I think he did anyway, but I know he used to talk about that, because I've sort of listened to a lot of his stuff where he talks about that. But he probably would then combine that with ask and it is given, and then just expect that you have it, that it's going to come to you. I never do that part. That part of the equation doesn't come into it for me. I'm getting more like that, of just thinking, I think it might happen at some point over time, but I have used this for such a long time and I've never had that feeling of it's going to come now. The expectant thing, I always call that like a negative expectation, because when you're doing manifesting and then going, where's the result? That's a negative expectation. But expecting it, as in wholeheartedly going, I know that's coming now, that's a completely different thing. I'm not quite there yet. I think I will get there eventually, but I'm not quite there yet, and obviously it's not necessary. You don't need to be. Just think of it energetic, and when you make a pure statement to your subconscious mind in the moment, you know exactly what you want. You've got real clarity. That feeling is pure. That is an energy. Whether you can feel it or not, it is an energy. It must be, because I'm manifesting that way all of the time. Because I've cut out everything else now, I literally just use this. That's not to say that I will always do that, because I have gone through different things. Like feeling was the thing for me, the 2-minute feeling thing, for years. And it's only the last kind of year or so that I've really adopted this and run with it. And probably the last 6 months where I'm hugely into it, and I'm asking for everything, you know, for feelings to be changed, for things to resolve. I'm going much deeper with it because I just now know the power of it. But feeling huge emotion is not necessary. And if you're feeling like you're chasing that form of manifestation, you don't have to. And if you really do want to use it, just do that. What does the version of me in the timeline, in another timeline that's experiencing this, what does he or she feel like? See if you can feel it. And the thing is, it is whatever it feels to you. Don't worry, well, have I got the feeling right? Because you've always got the feeling right, because it's your feeling. So it might just be an optimistic feeling, or an excited feeling, or a hopeful feeling, or it might be feeling it as real in that moment. But any of those things are good. Don't worry too much about what that feeling should be, because then when you do that, you mess up that feeling, and that vibration has got all of that in there as well. So just don't worry so much, basically. Don't worry so much. And if you feel like you're trying too hard, just bring it back to asking it as given. I've been saying to people, just experiment for 1 month with asking it as given. What is 1 month out of your life? Ditching the other manifesting that you've been doing that isn't working for you. Why don't you just bring it back to just asking? Write down all of the questions you want to ask, and all of the things you want to know about yourself. You want to know where you're being held back. If you don't know, the things that you want as well, just write everything down. And maybe have a separate list for the things that you actually want to manifest. Do it for a month. And this is like, I'm on about little things as well, big things and little things, absolutely everything. Write it all down. And then when you do manifest something, just tick it off. And then at the end of the month, look at your list and think, what percentage have I manifested has come into my life that I have written down? Give it a go. Like I say, it isn't going to do you any harm, but don't chase the feeling. Really don't do that. You don't need to. It's completely unnecessary. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I'm an author, I'm a mindset coach, and I am a manifesting coach.